OCN Volume 25 Number 12, December 6, 2025 Highlights. This podcast presents concise summaries of each of the articles and columns in this issue of OCN in the order they appeared in the paper. For details, please refer to the articles and columns, which are posted at ocn.me. The Palmer Lake Board of Trustees held one regular meeting on November 13, where they deferred decisions on annexation dates for Red Rocks Acres and the Bucky's property to December 11, and continued the related title and ballot language resolutions. They reviewed a draft ordinance from Town Attorney Scott Krob aiming to amend annexation election rules, but debate arose over timing, funding, and who drafts ballot language, with the board ultimately rejecting the proposed ordinance and leaving the town's code unchanged. In a related discussion, the board heard a presentation from Andy Kovacs of the Monument Fire District about a potential merger with Palmer Lake Fire Department, outlining benefits like lower insurance costs and improved response, while noting differences in staffing, funding, and the sustainability of current arrangements. Residents raised questions about how a merger might affect service to areas east of the railroad tracks, funding, and whether volunteer firefighters from PLFD would transfer to the merged entity, with concerns that a merger would require a new mill levy. Trustee Roger Mosley highlighted concerns about potential debt and the impact on the town's volunteers, while Mayor Dennis Stern emphasized the need for a commitment from MFD to provide a new fire station before supporting a merger. The board opened the budgets for 2025 and 2026, conducting a public hearing on the 2025 amended budget and reviewing changes such as moved design and construction costs, revised revenue and expense projections, and updated fund balance figures. No vote was taken at that time. For the 2026 budget, the board indicated they would continue questions at the December meeting and a memo would be provided beforehand, clarifying items like fire department subsidies and transfers from the general fund. 2 applications for the vacant board seat were reviewed in a November 18 workshop, followed by a special session where the board failed to appoint either applicant, leading to a decision to reopen the nomination process. Executive sessions prior to the November 13 meeting discussed personnel matters related to the town administrator search and Lakeview Heights negotiations, but produced no public action. During the November 13 interview process for the vacancy, John Marble and Bill Bass answered questions on key issues, experience, and governance, with Marble emphasizing new perspectives and Bass drawing on his prior mayoral experience and focus on healing division. The subsequent special meeting to appoint the vacancy also resulted in 2 failed nominations, each by a tied vote, before the board agreed to reopen the application period through December 1. Board members and the public discussed concerns about transparency during the recess taken to consider candidates, with ongoing tension over how to balance town needs and past experiences. In closing, the board signaled that more time would be needed to reach a decision on the vacancy, and the next regular meeting is scheduled for December 11, with additional details available on the town website. Takeaway: Palmer Lake plans to continue debating annexation timing, budget adjustments, and a potential fire department merger, while reopening the vacancy process to fill the town board seat and seeking clearer guidance on how to proceed. The Monument Planning Commission voted to approve the final planned unit development and final plat for Conexus filing number 4, moving forward with a 158-home residential project by Meritage Homes. The panel also unanimously recommended approval of the final PUD for the Terrazzo Baja commercial subdivision, adding conditions to curb outdoor storage for visual quality. Meritage plans 158 single-family homes on 23 acres near Old Denver Road, featuring 1,500 to 1,900 square feet, energy-efficient designs, 2-car garages, basements or crawl spaces, and dark sky lighting. Homes will be priced in the high $400,000s to low $500,000s with a 60-day closings option to attract entry-level and move-down buyers. Landscaping will emphasize drought-tolerant front yards and limited backyard sod, with water use capped at 0.25 acre-feet per lot, while the plan maintains open space, parks, trail access, and 3 access points from the realigned Old Denver Road, now Crossfield Drive, plus 3.1 acres of internal open space and a playground. Traffic, drainage, and infrastructure were deemed adequate, with studies confirming capacity under current plans and a 6-foot-wide paved internal trail as a new requirement to improve connectivity. The commission emphasized multiple access points, parking, and architectural variety to prevent repetitive designs. Some concerns were raised about traffic, open space, and neighborhood character from 158 homes on 23 acres, but no legal grounds were found to deny approval, and the motion passed 7-0. Commissioner Kathy Green noted aesthetics and long-term planning concerns, while Commissioner Martin Trujillo cautioned about potential long-term dissatisfaction with density and traffic. For the Terrazzo Baja commercial subdivision, 6 buildings totaling up to 31,500 square feet could host retail and light industrial uses, designed as incubator space for small businesses, with drainage, access, and design standards confirmed as compliant. The panel approved the project with a condition limiting outdoor storage height to 20 feet behind buildings 1 and 2, plus required screening and landscaping. Staff stressed ongoing planning priorities for 2026, including rewriting the Land Development Code and updating the comprehensive plan, alongside continued recruitment for board seats and the upcoming year-end changes in commission leadership. The commission remains focused on guiding land use and development in accordance with local and state laws. Upcoming meetings are set for December 10th, with resources available online for meeting recordings and transcripts, and contact information provided for further inquiries. The town encourages residents to follow developments and engage with planning discussions as part of its governance process. In summary, the Commission advanced 2 major projects, Conexus Filing No. 4 and Terrazzo Baja. The staff announced work for 2026, including rewriting the Land Development Code and updating the town's comprehensive plan. Recruitment continues for 2 alternate commissioner positions and 1 full commission seat. Commissioners Green and Daniel Hours will step down at year-end. The Lewis Palmer D38 board heard updates on the Career and Innovation Center and safe, healthy, and welcoming schools as part of Priority 1 of the district's strategic plan. The Career and Innovation Center is now part of Innovate Pikes Peak, expanding access to its engineering and advanced manufacturing programs for students from other participating schools, and a new robotics and engineering course is being developed for potential availability next year. Health science pathways are being built at district high schools to feed into CIC offerings, with 122 students enrolled in biomedical courses at Lewis Palmer High and 104 at Palmer Ridge High, while engineering students work on electronics designs with industry support, including Eagle Circuit. Students have also visited the Challenger Learning Center for Aerospace Experiences, and the CIC building progress includes electrical design updates tied to a grant-funded welding setup, interim generator support for robotics, and a goal to commission the building in early December. A training grounds coffee and snack bar run by transition program students is planned at the CIC, and the board discussed adding extracurriculars like JROTC and DECA as opportunities evolve, along with future IT, cybersecurity, and Skills USA construction courses. The board explored the potential benefits of locating CIC in an enterprise zone to attract donors, and requested future reports cover program development continuity and grant activity. In safety and security updates, the district reviewed the cell phone task force plans, with a policy expected by March, and noted completion of youth mental health first aid training, with 185 certified locally and community contributions recognized. Training for teachers on personal boundaries and threat assessment was reported, alongside continued use of Safe to Tell and Gaggle for anonymous concerns, with many reports tied to health and safety education. A vape prevention curriculum is being developed to emphasize education over suspension, and discussions on adding vape detectors are tentative due to resource constraints, with potential testing next year. Superintendent Amber Wetstein highlighted improving student feelings of safety and community, while school resource officers and a large security team manage access and campus safety, including remote lockdown capabilities and planned district-wide card access upgrades. The board noted architectural security improvements at Prairie Winds Elementary and ongoing camera and audio upgrades funded largely by grants, with additional security measures to be implemented district-wide. Board recognitions honored Eagle Scout Samuel Yount for his community garden project, and praised the Ascent Church and Mental Health First Aid Colorado for funding and program support, while also thanking departing board members Chris Norris and Tiffany Upchurch. Finance and enrollment updates showed October's full-time student count at 6,197.9, below projections, with a noted nationwide birth rate decline and local housing costs influencing family decisions, and ongoing review of student movements between districts. In closing, administrators continue to gather feedback from incoming families about district choice, online learning, and college courses as part of ongoing financial and enrollment planning. The next board meeting is December 15 at 6 p.m. at the Bauman Learning Center. Lauren Nelson was elected to represent El Paso County Commissioner District 5. Holly Tripp, Susan Payne, and Eddie Waldrep were elected to the Academy School District 20 board. Tim Bennett was elected to represent Lewis Palmer School District 38 District 1. Ginger Schaaf was elected to represent Lewis Palmer School District 38 District 3. The Monument Town Council, MTC, spent October and November actively pursuing economic development, starting with an October 29 special meeting to discuss an economic incentive proposal for ACO Engineered Systems Incorporated, a potential major new manufacturing plant in Monument. Finance Director Jennifer Phillips explained that the town has been coordinating with the state, El Paso County, and local chambers for 5 months, with a letter of commitment due by October 31 to outline incentives that would include state matching funds over the next decade. The proposed incentives feature a property tax rebate of about $243,000 over 9 years and a use tax rebate of about $210,000 for 2026 to 27, contingent on actual 2026 to 27 tax collections and state approval before ACO makes its decision. Council members weighed growth against financial strain and the potential precedent for future incentives, but ultimately agreed to sign the letter of commitment as ACO considered its final location, with Peoria, Arizona, also offering a substantial package. At the November 3 meeting, Veterans Day was acknowledged, highlighting that the town employs many veterans with over 215 years of combined service and noting student presence in the audience. Draft 2026 budget discussions showed sales tax revenue down 11% from 2024 to 2025, with potential revenue increases from a property tax rise to 5.78 mils or reinstating a 5% water utility franchise fee, and consideration of a paid parking study for Monument Lake. The town announced plans for a new capital improvement plan, with emphasis on prioritizing projects and realistic departmental budgets, and indicated the final 2026 budget would be presented on November 17 and adopted on December 1. A sign ordinance amendment, designed to include encroachment permits for public rights-of-way, was approved 7-0 to accommodate the Legacy at Jackson Landing project, which also received unanimous approval for a preliminary and final planned unit development, with Phase 1 groundbreaking scheduled for March 2026. At the November 17 meeting, 2 new police officers, Sean Connell and Carlos Gillian, were sworn in, and the 2026 final budget was presented with potential mill levy increases and reinstating the water utility franchise fee for 2026, while a proposed 2026 to 28 strategic plan and objectives was approved 6-0. Other items included updates to the employee handbook to address IT use on personal devices and planned supervisor training, and the award of a water main contract on Beacon Light Road to Capital Paving and Construction LLC, all before the meeting adjourned into executive session. In summary, Monument's recent actions focus on securing economic incentives, finalizing the 2026 budget and strategic plan, expanding infrastructure and public works, and recognizing veterans and new police officers, with careful attention to growth, revenue, and long-term policy implications. The Monument Academy School Board discussed the 2024-25 financial audit, which again earned an unmodified or clean opinion from Holting and Company, with the process beginning in August and coordinated by Finance Director Laura Polan and Interim CFO Glenn Gustafson. The audit highlighted a $3.1 million net position increase, driven by a $2.1 million rise in cash investments and higher capital assets, while noting a $32 million loan balance and $937,000 in debt service, along with a $14.9 million unfunded para-liability that decreased by $1.3 million. A prior period adjustment of $481,250 for unreported capital assets and $550,000 unreported debt related to the new building, plus the implementation of GASB 101, affected government-wide statements but not daily finances or the budget. In the general fund, the fund balance to expenditures ratio rose from 22% to 39%, and days cash on hand increased from 80 to 140, with revenue up 14% and expenses up 12%, yielding a $2.9 million higher fund balance than budgeted. Marketing updates from Income Marketing included a near refresh of MA's website, new campus pages, and an enrollment page, along with plans for teacher and student features, ads, and landing pages to boost inquiries and tours. PTOs on East and West campuses were praised for boosting school culture, with West Campus noting the successful links on the Run event, and East Campus expressing enthusiasm for ongoing teacher meals and upcoming events. The board gave a first reading to Policy IJ on instructional materials, with changes to clarify the Curriculum Committee's communication and updates to the 6-year review cycle, and added a simplified rubric for curriculum evaluation. Several policy updates were approved unanimously, including renaming and updating board conduct and election policies, donor donation policy clarifications, state assessment refusal and administration policies, and a decision to rescind longevity bonus pay due to minimal impact and ongoing retention efforts. Upcoming items include a December vote on the policy changes, more policy approvals, and continued discussion of curriculum and budget matters, with the next meeting scheduled for December 11 at the East Campus. Conclusion: the board remains focused on strengthening financial health, refining marketing and community engagement, updating governance policies, and supporting student programs through collaborative efforts across campuses. The Monument Academy, founded in 1986 and currently serving pre-K through 5, emphasizes character development and cursive writing, with 660 students and a parent-led school board. Discussion on accreditation covered test participation, opt-out challenges, and the impact of participation rates on accreditation, with plans to survey why families opt out and notes that state requirements call for 95% participation while some locations fall short. A post-election update noted Tim Bennett winning D38 District 1 and Ginger Schaaf winning D38 District 3 seats, with board officers to be elected after certification on November 29, and a recognition for outgoing board member Tiffany Upchurch, who will continue to attend meetings. Subcommittee activity highlighted ongoing work on full-time preschool feasibility, a survey map for special education progressions, and considerations of mill levy overrides amid changes in student counts. The PCAC meets 6 times yearly, with the next session scheduled for January 13 at Palmer Lake Elementary, and attendees were encouraged to contact tmckee@lewispalmer.org for more information. Conclusion: the committee is advancing accreditation awareness, special education and financial discussions, while planning future meetings and ongoing program evaluations. The Monument Fire District Board held a public hearing and then adopted the 2026 budget, following updates on district finances and planned projects. Fire Chief Andy Kovacs noted the 2026 budget adds revenue lines from selling Fire Station 3's current site, a loan fund for Station 3 construction, and interest income from an investment fund, along with funds to cover a 6-month salary for the new chief. The district projects a total revenue around $24.36 million and expenses near $21.79 million, with property taxes contributing about $19 million and the current mill levy unchanged at 18.40 mils. The board approved the 2026 wage schedule, the 2026 fee schedule with unchanged impact fees, the 2026 board meeting schedule, and the 2026 employee handbook in a unanimous vote. Construction awards were approved for Flintco LLC to build a new Fire Station 3 on a 2-acre lot north of the YMCA, with a bid of about $11.963 million, marking a key step in the Fire Station 3 rebuild. An executive recruitment contract with Prothman was approved to find a new fire chief, at $19,500 plus expenses, as Kovacs previously announced plans to retire at the end of 2026. Treasurer Tom Kelly reported the district was 83.3% through the fiscal year, with year-to-date revenue around $22.337 million and expenses about $15 million, and noted substantial savings including loan proceeds used for the FS3 rebuild. Facilities updates highlighted progress with Station 1 Training Center approvals expected in 6 to 8 months, finalizing the Station 3 property agreement in 30 to 45 days, and completion of the Station 2 remodel with crews back in place as of November 2. An executive session was held to discuss potential negotiations, after which Kovacs confirmed no action was taken when regular session resumed. Before the public session, the Donald Westcott Fire Protection District Volunteer Firefighter Pension Fund trustees met, noting a resignation and the appointment of Brian Ackerman, with the fund still showing strong funding at 107% and total fund value around $958,826 as of September 30. The next regular meeting is scheduled for December 3 at 4:30 p.m. at Station 1, with meeting details available on the district's website and through the Director of Administration. Takeaway: the district is moving forward with budget approvals and major facility projects, while actively recruiting a new fire chief and advancing key construction and planning milestones for Fire Station 3 and related facilities. The Woodmoor Water and Sanitation District Board received a rate and financial modeling briefing from Raftelis, which recommended continuing the proposed 2024 to 2026 rate increases and explained their impact on customers. Base water and sewer rates are set to rise in 2026 by 7% and 5% respectively, with tap fees increasing by 10% for water and 3% for sewer, while the renewable water infrastructure fee remains at $40 per month. Andrew Ream, a senior manager at Raftelis, the company that advises WWSD about rates and financial modeling, also outlined a multi-year plan through 2034, with 5% water and 4% sewer increases in 2027 to 2028, followed by 3% increases annually through 2034, and an unchanged RWAF. The district notes the real effect would be adjusted as needed. For residential customers, 2026 would see the monthly sewer bill grow from $37.47 to $39.34 and the water bill from $11.56 to $12.27, with 1,000 gallons in the first 6,000 gallons rising from $7.33 to $7.84, and the median annual bill increasing to about $125. District Manager Jesse Schaefer explained the larger initial increases are to smooth long-term adjustments and reflect costs associated with the Loop Water Reuse project, while overall water use has declined since 2006 due to efficiency. At the 2026 budget hearing, the board incorporated Ream's rate increases and adjusted revenue expectations for supplemental water service, including funding for a new Monument Fire Department facility. Separately, the district awarded a demolition contract to remove a lift station on Lost Arrowhead Drive after determining updating it was not cost-effective, choosing Native Sun Construction with a contingency of $30,000. Treasurer Dana Franzen reported October's finances were in line with expectations, with a temporary dip in net profit due to more contract payments, and the Loop project progress includes design work advancing to 60% and discussions on financing. The district noted communications improvements with TextMyGov to alert customers during emergencies, requiring opt-in via a link or by texting WWSD to 91896, and announced Monument Ridge East's development plans for 37 homes near Misty Acres. Attorney Erin Smith, who has served WWSD for 26 years, announced her retirement and pledged to help with a smooth transition, aiming for mid-February completion of the process. Conclusion: the district is moving forward with its rate schedule and budget plans, progressing on the Loop project, and preparing for leadership transition, while continuing to enhance customer communications and infrastructure updates. Next meeting, December 15 at 1 p.m. at the district office, with details online at woodmoorwater.com. The Monument Sanitation District Board reviewed a draft of the 2026 budget, noting changes such as a smaller janitorial line and a 2.7% wage COLA with merit raises, while planning for anticipated lower tap fee revenue due to delayed projects. Director Shannon Clark pointed out that PFAS testing from the previous year had been budgeted but not performed, and the board discussed reduced postal costs due to online billing and halved office supply costs in the 2026 plan. Parker said final budget approval would come at the December meeting, with the intention of presenting numbers that reflect higher expenses and lower anticipated income to avoid the need for amendments. The board unanimously approved a resolution authorizing the El Paso County Treasurer to collect MSD's delinquent accounts through property taxes, with about 22 delinquent accounts expected to be collected and added to the tax bill. Work on Beacon Light Road is underway with ongoing regular meetings among MSD, El Paso County, engineering firm Kimley Horn, and the town of Monument, with GMS Incorporated attending to ensure changes meet MSD requirements. Conclusion: the district is moving forward with its 2026 budget planning, delinquent account collection through the county, and coordinated roadwork efforts to address infrastructure needs. The Donala Water and Sanitation District Board received a briefing on water rights and exchange options from Kelsey Briggs of LRE Water, and also heard updates on changes to the proposed 2026 budget. Briggs explained that an exchange moves water to a usable location without pumps or pipelines by diverting and then rerouting water from different sources, and she gave an example involving the Fountain Creek Mutual Canal and the Arkansas River to keep downstream users adequately supplied. She noted DWSD relies mainly on groundwater but holds 3 renewable surface water rights: Laughlin Ditch, Willow Creek Ranch, and reusable return flows from the wastewater treatment plant, and warned that as aquifers deplete, shifting toward renewable surface water can help control costs over time. The Laughlin Ditch rights, purchased in 2017, are currently leased to the Arkansas Groundwater and Reservoir Association since DWSD lacks a conveyance, treatment, and delivery method. The Willow Creek Ranch rights, acquired in 2009, are stored in Pueblo Reservoir and service to DWSD customers via a contract with Colorado Springs Utilities, with DWSD's releases prioritizing reservoir limits. The reusable return flows from the wastewater treatment plant will be treated and conveyed to customers through the Loop Water Reuse Project, according to Briggs, who also outlined 5 possible exchange to locations and 5 exchange from locations for water movements. To optimize use of its rights, the district will need a long-term strategic plan and a flow model, which Briggs proposed to develop in 6 months to help the board decide on exchanges, with Matt Posnanovic as the water lawyer handling related water court issues. In budget news, Acting General Manager Christina Hawker reported reductions in sewer inspections from 296,000 to 99,000 by inspecting only a third of the system, and noted an increase in loop participation costs from 250,000 to 550,000 after reviewing the loop's 2026 proposal. She also indicated progress on state support to reimburse $400,000 of the cost to redrill Well 7D under the American Recovery Plan Act for radium reduction, and informed the board that the December meeting was moved to December 9 to finalize the budget before the December 15 state deadline. A public hearing approved a petition from the Bill and Vicki Hancock Living Trust to include their 15220 Leather Chaps Drive property in the water service area, with the board noting the property is too distant for sewer service. The petition was granted unanimously. Meanwhile, the license agreement for Willow Creek Ranch would allow limited access for neighbors, with a waiver for horse riding to be drafted, and no vote was required on the license itself, as staff prepared the needed documents. The meeting concluded with 2 executive sessions, one on personnel matters and another to seek legal advice on a water court case, with no actions taken afterward. In closing, the next board meeting is scheduled for December 9 at 1:30 p.m., with information available through the district's contact channels and website, and the public is invited to attend. The Triview Metropolitan District Board approved a petition for land inclusion from All In Investments LLC for about 8.07 acres at 16050 Old Denver Road, with the understanding that development is not yet defined and future discussions would determine water and utility commitments. The board also approved an engagement letter with White Bear Ankyo Local Government Law PC to provide general counsel services under new pricing transparency rules. Updates on the Higbee Road project show delays due to utility conflicts, pushing the schedule to mid-March 2026, with a plan to release a revised schedule for 2026. A new set of road sign updates was announced, including additional pedestrian crossing warnings at Torreva Drive and new speed limit signs on Leather Chaps Drive to encourage slower driving. Tap fee figures were shared, with 84 taps received year-to-date and about $4.627 million in tap fee revenue, highlighting the importance of these funds for maintaining and expanding the district's water system. Water Operations noted that the Northern Delivery System produced 39% of October's water, while pumped well water supported the remaining supply to preserve surface water allocations. The district faced ongoing issues with flow measurement inaccuracy at the Upper Monument Creek facility, prompting additional meters, data analysis, and repairs to underregistering irrigation meters and leaks, including removal of a long-running water bypass. An executive session covered water, land, and agreement negotiations, and upon resuming, the board approved hiring Jody Schreiber as a consultant for the Stonewall Spring Central Reservoir project. The next regular meeting is set for December 11 at 5:30 p.m., with a public budget hearing planned, and further updates available on the district's website. The El Paso County Regional Loop Water Authority reviewed its 2025 budget and held a public hearing on its 2026 budget, with updates from the Loop's workflow manager and a financial report from the board president. The 2026 budget anticipates about $4.86 million in revenue, including $2.4 million from ARPA and contributions from participating districts, with approximately $4.9 million in expenditures mainly for professional fees, aiming to advance design work to about 60% completion and leaving roughly $350,000 in the bank by end of 2026. Patricia Hutchinson, a civil design engineer with Merrick & Company, which is acting as the Loop's workflow manager, noted that design work is progressing. CDM Smith, the engineering company that was awarded the contract to expand the Calhoun Reservoir, expects reservoir expansion design by February 2026. Burns and McDonnell projects pumps and pipelines design completion in February, and a package for the advanced water treatment facility will be reviewed in November and December, with a final workshop in December. The October invoices totaled about $228,000, primarily from Burns and McDonnell, leaving roughly $57,000 in cash after payments, due to slower reimbursements from the El Paso Board of County Commissioners of funds from the American Recovery Plan Act. The board approved the invoices. On legal matters, the board approved a 2026 Annual Administrative Matters Resolution and minor changes to contracts with Merrick & Company and Spencer Fane LLC, followed by an executive session to discuss financing negotiations, including a possible public-private partnership, with no actions taken afterward. The El Paso Board of County Commissioners, BOCC, approved a memorandum of agreement and temporary construction easement for the Highway 105 widening project from Lake Woodmoor Drive to Martingale Road, enabling the county to purchase and use property owned by Douglas Williams and Diane East Williams for road, utility, drainage, and access purposes, with a $670 payment from Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority funds. In a separate action on November 13, the board granted a subdivision exemption for a Town of Monument tank site involving Interstate 25 Properties Ltd., Siblico Holdco Exchange LLC, and the Town of Monument, covering 5.87 acres to be divided into one lot and 4 tracts, plus 7,290 square feet of public road right-of-way dedication. The property for the tank site is Zone C1, Commercial, and lies just southeast of the Beacon Light Road and Bricker Road intersection. BOCC meetings typically take place on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. in Centennial Hall Auditorium, and are open to the public with a live stream option available online. For more information or to contact, visit the BOCC website or reach out to Marlene Brown at her listed email. In summary, the board acted to support road and utility improvements through property arrangements and subdivision adjustments, reflecting ongoing infrastructure and development activity in the area. NEPCO, a nonprofit formed in June 2000 by HOAs in northern El Paso County, meets to influence growth and development through proactive interaction with county officials and developers. The group shares useful information among HOAs to help manage association issues that cross into broader interests. At the November meeting, NEPCO reported 43 current HOA members with 19 HOAs represented, but no quorum of 22 HOAs was met, so board elections could not be held. Volunteers can learn about board responsibilities via email. NEPCO's president highlighted the organization as a valuable resource for members, county planners, and commissioners. El Paso County Commissioners Holly Williams and Bill Wysong attended, with Williams noting NEPCO's value to the community and planners, while Wysong announced he began his first 4-year term in January 2025. Commissioners oversee departments such as roads, safety, water, and planning with a budget exceeding $500 million. NEPCO also highlighted opportunities for public input on the Land Development Code through a volunteer on the county task force and encouraged broader community involvement. The article also points readers to volunteer opportunities with the county, emergency alert signups, and further information on county projects and services via official websites. NEPCO typically meets bi-monthly at the Woodmoor Barn, with the next general membership meeting scheduled for January 10 from 10 a.m. to noon. Inquiries about HOA membership can be directed to NEPCO's emails or website. The Woodmoor Improvement Association Board approved its 2026 budget, projecting income of about $1.241 million against expenses of $1.244 million, leaving a small shortfall to be covered by reserves, while noting ongoing efforts to reduce insurance costs and potential 2026 changes. The budget includes a 3% dues increase to $308.50 and a 3% cost of living adjustment for administrative staff and Woodmoor Public Safety, and the board unanimously approved it. The third annual holiday lighting contest features 3 categories: the Clark Griswold category for lights visible from space, the Frosty category for best use of holiday characters, and the traditional category for standard lighting, with Woodmoor Public Safety compiling contenders and voting before Christmas, awarding a $100 electrical bill credit to winners courtesy of Mountain View Electric Association. Other highlights include ongoing IT contract work anticipated by year's end, with the HOA preparing an end-of-year contract. The treasurer indicated that excluding a one-time easement payment from the Woodmoor Water and Sanitation District for Well 7R, the association would finish the year with a surplus, and a decision would be made on which reserve fund would hold that money. Covenant enforcement activity showed 25 items in October, resulting in 3 resolved violations through friendly communication, with no hearing scheduled for December. Public safety noted continued burglaries in the broader area but differing perpetrators, advising residents to keep valuables hidden and report incidents to Woodmoor Public Safety and the El Paso County Sheriff's Office. Architectural Control reported 63 project submissions year-to-date, with 437 projects processed overall, a 16.3% decrease from last year, approved at a 98.9% rate, while Forestry urged no open flames in Woodmoor. In common areas, updates included blown-out sprinklers around the barn, completed roof work on the garage, nearby trash pickup, and an Eagle Scout project adding 4 new waste stations in the preserve. The board typically meets on the 4th Wednesday of each month at the barn, with the next meeting planned for December 17th, weather permitting, and residents are encouraged to check the website for exact details. The takeaway: the association is moving forward with fiscal plans, festive community events, and ongoing management across governance, safety, and public areas. Faith Anderson, a student at Palmer Ridge High School, wrote a thank you letter on behalf of the school's outdoor learning lab. She expressed gratitude to the Monument Hill Foundation for donating a gorilla cart wheelbarrow and organizational bins for the tool shed. These items have greatly improved the workflow for students during volunteer work days and other activities. As a fully donor and volunteer-supported program, the Outdoor Learning Lab and its students are especially appreciative of the Foundation's generous support. The poet, Betsy Lambert, celebrates turning 80 by declaring, "80 is the new 60. Born before the baby boomers, she observed the 1960s protests but chose marriage and family over the counterculture. After raising children as a dutiful wife, she confidently re-entered her career alongside other women breaking barriers. When grandchildren arrived, she gladly stepped back from professional ambition to focus on family. Now in retirement, having supported her grandchildren as they launch into adulthood, she embraces 80 with pride and a youthful spirit, rejecting fear of aging and choosing to feel 60 instead." The poem is a joyful reflection on a full, purposeful life lived on her own terms. Reading should feel like a gift, not a chore, and this collection from Covered Treasures highlights favorites across genres and ages. The list opens with The Correspondent by Virginia Evans, a letter-filled story about Sybil Van Antwerp writing to various people to make sense of her world. Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell is described as a short, moving novel set around Shakespeare's life and the death of his son, focusing on family and healing. Theo of Golden by Alan Levi follows a mysterious visitor who exchanges portraits for stories and connections, illustrating generosity and kindness. 100 Rules for Living to 100 by Dick Van Dyke shares the author's tips for maintaining joy and vitality as he nears 100. Why We Love Football by Joe Poznansky recounts 100 moments that shaped football, offering a broad and entertaining history. Union Square Kids Unabridged Classic Editions bring timeless stories to young readers, with accessible editions of classics like Alice in Wonderland and The Secret Garden. Steam Train, Dream Train by Sherry Dusky and Tom Lichtenfeld invites children to fall asleep with imaginative dream-driven adventures aboard a magical train. The takeaway is that these favorites showcase generosity, history, and timeless stories across formats, inviting readers of all ages to discover reading as a gift. Pikes Peak Library District is upgrading a major system that handles checkouts, holds, catalog browsing, and the overall library experience. From November 29th to December 11th, service disruptions will prevent placing holds, checking in items, using the online catalog or app, and creating new library cards, though returns will be held until December 11th. All locations will be closed December 10th and 11th to test the new system and process item returns, while online databases, Libby, Hoopla, and the Pikes Peak Culture Pass will remain available. Interlibrary loans can still be requested, and materials can be checked out using a library card or account number, though staff will not be able to look up this information. After the transition, the online catalog will offer new features such as formatted groupings, book, audiobook, large print, clickable author bios, and grade-level information with suggestions for other materials. The catalog will also provide misspelling corrections and similar material suggestions, and patrons will have the option to save their checkout history. Detailed, up-to-date information about the transition is available on the district website, ppld.org. December brings a variety of programs, including Pause to Read for Children, a German conversation group for adults, Socrates Cafe discussions, story time and toddler time sessions, a cocoa blend workshop for adults, a book group, an Andy Warhol-inspired idea lab, and a teen Dungeons & Dragons gathering, with some dates and spaces limited or requiring registration. As a reminder, all facilities will be closed December 24th and 25th, with early closure at 4 p.m. on December 31st and full closure on January 1st. The article highlights how winter nature offers healing sights, with pine and fir trees, snow, pine cones, and crabapple trees contributing to our seasonal views, while indoor flowering plants can boost mood during the colder months. Pet and kid-friendly choices are listed, including Christmas cactus, butterfly orchids, African violet, goldfish plant, ixora, shamrock, Indian mallow, and poinsettias, which are safe options for holiday decor around children and pets and tend to last for weeks or months with proper care. Cautionary note on dangerous plants is emphasized. Pollen, a leaf, or vase water from certain plants can be fatal to pets, with amaryllis, anthurium, cyclamen, calla lily, kalanchoe, narcissus, and primrose highlighted as particularly risky, alongside most true lilies. Acorn bread history and use. The article then shifts to acorn bread, known as Wiwish or shawi, describing its long-standing role in indigenous California diets and its status as a global historical food used as a famine staple or traditional bread before grains were widespread. Holiday acorn bread and preparation. Variations of acorn bread incorporate seasonal ingredients and are baked during fall and winter when acorns are in season. The preparation involves leaching tannins from ground acorns, drying, and mixing with other flours, a practice dating back to ancient times across multiple cultures. Personal note and invitation. The author, Janet Sellers, identifies as a lazy gardener who prefers letting nature guide her gardening, and she invites readers to share tips via email. In closing, she reflects on the nostalgia and practicality of acorn bread as a healthy, hearty seasonal option. Curation is the act of choosing, arranging, and presenting with intention, whether for a holiday tree, a wall painting, or a thoughtful gift. Art curation goes beyond display. It tells a story through materials and creates experiences that shape how we feel in our surroundings. Art is communication, with every choice, color, texture, word or sound, carrying meaning and inviting connection between maker and viewer. Art changes a room by adding mood, warmth, and identity, making spaces feel alive and meaningful rather than neutral. We curate for comfort, memory, and belonging, and gift-giving is a deeply human form of curation that elevates objects into experiences. Conclusion: through our choices in what we display, gift, and surround ourselves with, we shape beauty, meaning, and culture for ourselves and others. Pedestrians and bike riders are at greater risk as daylight saving time ends and dusk arrives earlier, prompting a CDOT safety campaign to protect vulnerable road users. Colorado has seen an 88% rise in pedestrian fatalities overall, with El Paso County reporting a 167% increase, highlighting the urgency of safety measures. Drivers are reminded to be especially cautious around school buses, as passing a stopped bus with the stop arm extended and flashing lights is a serious traffic violation that requires stopping at least 20 feet away. Many Colorado districts, including Academy School District 20, use stop arm cameras and interior cameras on buses to document violations and enhance student safety. Parents can find and register for car seat inspections and assistance programs at carsatscolorado.com, with options for free or low-cost seats through WeCycle, Children's Hospital Colorado, and Safe Kids Colorado Springs. Residents are encouraged to bear-proof trash and secure bins to deter bears and other animals, with bear-resistant options available through waste services or purchases. When thunder roars, the guidance is to seek sturdy indoor shelter or a hard-topped vehicle, stay away from electrical appliances, and monitor weather reports until danger has passed. Lewis Palmer School District will provide no-cost meals for all elementary students in the first semester of 2025-26, while households should still report income information to secure funding. The El Paso County Trailability Program offers off-road mobility experiences in 2 nature centers, with reservations required and participation free of charge from May to October. NAMI Colorado Springs runs a no-cost parent and caregiver support group via Zoom on the second Monday of each month from 7 to 8:30 p.m., with registration available online. Tri-Lakes Cares remains the key food pantry and service provider for northern El Paso County, inviting donations and detailing current needs and drop-off hours to support neighbors in crisis. The Black Forest Log School project seeks continued support to preserve the historic building, noting new exterior damage and budget shortfalls, with donation options through local foundations and the school site. Thank you for joining us for highlights from the articles and columns from this issue of OCN. To dive into the full articles and columns or explore more content, visit ocn.me. Don't miss out. Sign up for our community newsletter to stay updated with every new post.